Live from the Dunkin Latte Lounge.
Welcome to the Dunkin Latte Lounge. I'm Nick Gomez from Z100 New York. With me, I have Move Like Creatures. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello. Hey, we're doing great.
Now, one of you couldn't be here today, right? There's normally four.
Yes, there's normally four of us. Our bass player, Brian, cannot be here today, but we actually have another bass player playing with us, and Brian surprisingly just switched to guitar. So you guys will see that in the performance.
Fun. And Brian is here with us in spirit, so thank you.
He is.
So we want to get right into it. You guys have an EP on the way coming very, very soon.
Yes.
It's called Space Case. It's out Wednesday, the 23rd. So next week. How did this all come about first? Because the story of your band forming is, I think, probably one of the most unique. So tell me about how you guys came together.
Well, it started with a Craigslist post. I was like really depressed and kind of in a loss of identity stage because I had been in a different music group for many years and it ended. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to put out a Craigslist ad. And within a couple of days, Ryan responded and I invited him over, not thinking. I was just so excited, like, oh yeah, I'm going to work on music, but not thinking I was inviting a stranger to my house. So I remember I hid a knife under the pillow just in case. And then Melissa, her friend Frances had seen the post and let her know. And we met up probably a couple weeks after Ryan and I started working, but Melissa and I played in bands together. Our bands played the same shows before in the past. And I auditioned for her band many years ago and she rejected me. So full circle.
And so this was all in the midst of the pandemic, right?
Yes, it was when the pandemic hit. We still kind of weren't sure what was going down, but we had a lot of time on our hands. So I figured what better time to write music and, make it positive.
Yeah. And that's such you hear artists that were already had bands together that were like, oh, what do we do during the pandemic? You don't normally hear about people trying to start a band in the middle of the pandemic. So this is the feat of all feats.
I mean, it's you think the world's ending, you might as well do what you love.
Yeah. Give it a shot. Why not? Try it out.
Give it a go.
Where did we get the name Move Like Creatures from?
Want to take that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, coming up with a band name is the most stressful thing ever because, things just sound dumb or whatever. But we had a list of just cool words that we liked. And I kind of just sat there and kind of just strung words together and Move Like Creatures came up and it stuck.
So there was no online generator. We weren't throwing words into a generator online trying to figure it out.
I'm pretty sure we tried.
Yeah. We tried. And Ryan really wanted Silver Tigers, but we outvoted it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got some bad names to print out.
There's some really bad.
I feel like every band has a list of all of the rejected names that they went through, and that I would love to see that list from all of my favorites, right?
What's funny is I still have it in my phone. I have the whole list of all the random things because I figure you can use it as song names later or something,
or an album name.
Or an album name. Yeah, we kept the list.
Exactly. And keep that with all the other random stuff you got in your phone. Perfect.
Yep.
Moving on to this album that we're anxiously awaiting, so close. You guys worked with Ethan Kaufman, who has worked with Avril Lavigne. How did that happen? Was it intentional? Were you like, we've got to work with this guy, or did paths just happen to cross?
So Ethan has been a good friend of mine for 11 years or something like that. I've worked in previous projects with him, and it was honestly just kismet. Just I met the band and we came together so quickly and wrote music. Out of nowhere, he had texted me hey, what are you doing? Are you still working on music? And I hadn't even let him know. And then I sent him a couple of demos, and 6 months later we got in there and recorded. So it just kind of came together, but he's been a good friend of mine a long time.
Sick. So not intimidating at all. It's not like you're working with this person that no one had ever talked to before. No. It's a good friend.
He's probably the least intimidating person ever. He's just the nicest.
And reading through how this album came together, because you guys have I love the story that's on all of your socials and on your website. You guys like all wrote this album kind of like together and almost like as it was coming together, right?
Yeah, I guess. Do you want to get any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, writing instrumentals and stuff like that, everything kind of started with an idea from somebody in the band. So like one song would start as a guitar idea, and then Nancy would, write some lyrics to that. Another song would start with Nancy coming up with a melody and some lyrics, and so we would write some chord progressions that would go along with that. And then even Brian has kind of like a home studio, so some of the songs that we ended up recording were ideas that started with like a beat that he made or something like that. But it was really interesting, kind of the way everything came together in the studio once we met with Ethan. One thing that I think is super interesting about the whole recording process, at least from like a guitar perspective, is that like probably like 70 or 80% of the stuff that ended up on the final tracks was stuff that was kind of just improvised on the spot, and was encouraged by Ethan because he didn't like what I was doing at first. So I mean, that would be like the leads and like Ghost Me and the solo at the end of Space Case, where a lot of that was just kind of made up on the spot in the studio with Ethan.
It's wild to think that like that happens even when people are putting an entire album together, like because you could start a project personally on your own and like it ends up being something that you didn't even imagine when you started it, and then that also translates to when people are making literal albums that like you riff while you're in the studio and it turns into this totally different monster. So that's so cool. I love that improvisation part of it. Was it a challenge working with 4 people with like all of the ideas flying around, or do you think that it did make it easier to put the whole album together?
I think initially we were just all really open and happy to be working on music. I don't really remember many arguments about the songs themselves. Brian really wanted to add horns in one of the songs. That was probably the only argument we got into. It was like, no, we're not. Because Melissa and I come from a background of ska bands and reggae. So we were like, no, we're doing something different. But no, I think it's crazy how natural it all came into place and it all just kind of fit together. But it wasn't hard working together at all.
That's perfect.
Which is why it went so quick.
So much easier. Now take us like, what can we expect from this EP? What do you want the audience to take away from it, from start to finish, top to bottom?
I guess, lyrically, that you're not alone. A lot of it surrounds mental health and dealing with relationships and, things people usually sing about, but on a level of acceptance and, well, this is who I am. So, just kind of navigating life. And I think for me, right, that's what I want the most, is to connect with others and make them feel like they're not alone, that they're being heard and that there's something they can go to remind them that they're not.
Yeah, and incredibly important after the last 24 months that we've all had.
Yeah.
I love that that's the explicit purpose of this album is to focus on that. And that's something that you guys all have a background in, right? You guys all have a background in psychology of some sort.
So 2 of us do. So actually my bachelor's is in neuropsych, and then Brian, who wasn't able to come today, he is a psychiatrist. So he's an actual doctor. And I'm sure they've had like crazy life experience that they can pull from.
And so it's safe to say that all of that has informed what we're going to hear on this album next week, right?
Yep. And just lots of fun and, cool synths, and Brian has a really good guitar solo on one. So
well, and you mentioned fun. I've watched both of the music videos that you guys have out right now. If you're watching this interview and you haven't seen these music videos, you must. They are so much fun. I like visually so pleasing. What was it like putting those together? Are those recent projects? Was that like something that you had to do during pandemic lockdown also?
So those we filmed in the past 3 months. We've just been filming back to back to back. You guys want to elaborate on that at all? Okay. Well, we started the idea with the tarot card. So for Mind Reader, we were looking at different artwork. Melissa does all of our artwork, so she's amazing. And we started with the idea of the tarot card, and that developed into the storyline for Mind Reader with the fortune teller, you know, getting the whole band in one space. And we just wanted it to be fun and colorful. And our first debut is the first time people are seeing us with our song, our faces, how we like to have fun. And then for Space Case, it's more ethereal and, you know, out in nature, and which is important to me. I love nature, and it's in Central California, but it looks like we're somewhere else in the world. So I love it. But yeah, we just did it. We've been just hauling butt, getting all this stuff done before the EP.
Does that mean that
Also,
we're gonna?
There's just a third music video coming out too. We just filmed a music video for Ghost Me just this past weekend. So it's a work in progress, but there's another one coming too.
Yeah.
Nice. That was my next question. I was like, are we getting more? Can we get some more, please? Well, we do want to leave some time for you guys to perform for us, but I do have one last question for each of you. Since we're in the Dunkin Latte Lounge, if you could walk into a Dunkin, grab a latte, and sit down with anybody, family, friend, actor, musician, alive, dead, who would it be and why?
For me, it would be Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. He's just a huge influence for me guitar wise. Love everything he's done. Just an icon that I just look up to as a guitarist. So that would definitely be my pick.
Perfect.
I think for me, I'm a huge Tracy Chapman fan, and she's someone as a singer-songwriter. I know it's old school, but I would just love to sit with her and just talk with her and, you know, talk about songwriting and lyrics. Her or Alanis, probably. What about you?
For me, probably Gwen Stefani. I'm a huge No Doubt fan. And she's just so awesome. And she seems like she'd be a lot of fun to talk about, just, you know, being a girl in a band and how all that worked out for her. And she's so artistic, and it's just everything about her I would love to hear about.
Safe to say all three of those people are icons. So those are good to see. Well, so before we get to the performance, plug your socials. Where can we find you on everything?
Instagram, we are at Move Like Creatures, and as well for TikTok. Twitter is
ML Creatures.
Yes, ML Creatures. So you can find us on all the things, and Facebook's at Move Like Creatures as well.
All right. So debut EP Space Case comes out next Wednesday, the 23rd. Move Like Creatures, thank you guys so much for hanging in the Dunkin Latte Lounge.
Thank you, Nick. We're excited.
Thanks for having us,
So
man.
good to have you. And I'm anxiously awaiting this performance.
We're Move Like Creatures. This is our song Ghost Me off of our upcoming EP, Space Case.
I'm sorry for procrastinating again. I'm sorry for procrastinating, my friend, 'cause I know you had hope, and I know it's a joke, but just let me back in. Are you really gonna ghost me after you waited so long to get a hold of me? Hold of me. Oh, are you really gonna let me wonder? Been running so long.
this next song is called Mind Reader.
She's always judging me with those eyes. She's always judging, no surprise. Oh, she says only so many times you get put back together. We'll bust out that prescription pad, give me something good like that. I'll try whatever. Oh, you must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. At least you look the part. They're always asking if I'm fine. They want to fix me all the time. Oh, they say you only have to stick it out in time, you'll get better. We'll bust out all your best advice, tell me what I'm doing right. I'll try whatever. Oh, you must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. At least you look the part. I hear waves crashing tonight in my mind. I hear waves crashing tonight in my mind. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. At least you look the part. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. You must be a mind reader. At least you look the part. At least you look the part.
All right, this next song is called Space Case. It's what we named our EP after, and it's one of my favorite songs, so.
Space case, what you doing these days? Missed another off ramp on the freeway. Probably gonna be another 10 minutes late. Stuck in the loop of another daydream. Always in between what I say and what I mean, but you always get me.
so much for watching.
To see more videos like this, check out DunkinLatteLounge.com. And if you're posting on social, use the hashtag Dunkin Latte Lounge.